If you're relocating to the Houston area and Mont Belvieu, Texas keeps popping up in your search, there is a reason. Families are talking about it because of Barbers Hill ISD, the lower tax rate conversation, the new homes, the parks, the golf course, the wave pool, and that small town feel with Houston access. But before you decide this is the place for you, let's talk about what people love, what surprises buyers, and what you need to know before you move here. Because the house may be beautiful, but the community has to fit your life. Hi, I'm Jamie Graves with the Graves Realty Group, and I've helped hundreds of people relocate to Texas and find the right home, the right community, and the right lifestyle. And this one is personal for me because I personally call Mont Belvieu my home. As a retired teacher, it was extremely important for me to raise my kids in a great community and a strong school district. So when I talk about Mont Belvieu, I'm not just reading facts off the internet. I actually live here. I raised my family here, and so I understand why people are drawn to this community. So today I'm sharing 10 things you should know before moving to Mont Belvieu. Make sure you stay until the end because number 10 is what I tell every relocation buyer before they fall in love with a pretty house online. And while you're here, go ahead and subscribe to my channel because I share videos all the time about moving to Houston, living in this area, relocating to Texas, and finding the right community for your lifestyle. All right, let's talk Mont Belvieu. Number 1, Mont Belvieu gives you that small town living with Houston access. Mont Belvieu really does give you that small town access to the greatest reasons people are moving here. We're located about 30 miles east of Houston, about 6 miles from Baytown, and we're in Chambers County. So you get that small town feel, but you're not disconnected. You can get to Houston, you can get to Baytown, you can get to the plants, the ship channel, tons of restaurant shopping and everyday conveniences without feeling like you live right in the middle of Houston chaos. And listen, Houston chaos is real. I love Houston, but sometimes Houston traffic will make you question every life decision you've ever made. Mont Belvieu gives people a little more breathing room. Population-wise, Mont Belvieu is still smaller than many Houston suburbs, but it's growing quickly. We're currently around that 10 to 13,000 population range, depending on the source and the estimate, and the growth is continuing. So yes, it still has that small town feel, but no, it's not sitting still. But before you move here, I always tell people to map your actual commute, not just on a Sunday afternoon when everything looks easy. Map it during the time you would actually be driving, because in Texas, close and commute are two very different conversations. Now let's talk about one of the biggest draws to Mont Belvieu, Barbers Hill ISD. A lot of families moving to this area are moving here because of the school district. Barbers Hill ISD is one of the most talked about school districts in our area, and many families consider it one of the top school districts in Texas. So when people say, I want Mont Belvieu, a lot of times they're saying, I want the district. And I get it. As a retired teacher, schools matter to me. Community matters to me. The environment you raise your kids in does matter. That is one of the reasons Mont Belvieu was so important to me personally. I wanted my kids in a strong school district. I wanted them in a community where families show up, where people care, and where there's pride in the school, sports, activities, and the community as a whole. And here's what I want you to know. Do not assume every home near Mont Belvieu is automatically zoned to Barbers Hill. You need to verify before you fall in love with the kitchen, before you imagine your Christmas tree in the living room, before you start mentally placing your couch. Check the school zoning because the school district is one of the biggest reasons people are willing to move here. And you want to make sure the home you love actually lines up with what you need. Mont Belvieu is growing, but it still feels personal. Honestly, one of those things that makes this area so exciting right now. But what I love is that it's not growing in a way that feels random. It feels like the city is being intentional about adding things that make everyday life better for the people who live here. We've got a new city hall, new planned communities, new parks, a dog park, and more development happening throughout the area. We're also seeing more services come closer to home, including medical and healthcare access, plus Lee College expanding with a new college facility coming to this area. And then you have the everyday conveniences people actually talk about. We've got H-E-B, Planet Fitness, local restaurants, and more businesses and chain restaurants starting to move in. And that matters because when you're relocating, you're not just asking, is this house pretty? You're asking, where am I going to go grocery shop? Where can I work out? Where can we grab dinner? Where can the kids go? Where can we get medical care? Do I have to drive 30 or 40 minutes for everything? That's why this growth is such a big deal. Mont Belvieu still has that small town feel, but it's becoming more convenient every year. You get the community, the parks, the schools, and the slower pace, but you're also getting more of the things people want close to home. And that's why we're seeing a lot of people from out of state moving to this area. They're looking for great schools, a strong community, more space, lower tax rate opportunities, parks, activities, and a place that they can actually enjoy their everyday life. And the nice thing is there's always something to do. Between the parks, Eagle Point, school events, sports, local restaurants, community gatherings, church events, and all the new things coming in, Mont Belvieu gives people that small town connection without feeling boring or disconnected. Now, growth does come with change. You may see more construction, you may see more traffic, you may see more people discovering what locals already knew, but that's also what happens when a community has something special. People notice, and Mont Belvieu is definitely being noticed. You'll find newer homes, master plan communities, and acreage options. One thing people love about Mont Belvieu is the variety of homes. You have newer master plan communities like Riceland, which is bringing a whole new level of growth and development to this area. Riceland has multiple builders, different floor plans, different price points, and different square footage options. Whether somebody's looking for a first home, a larger family home, a 1 acreage story or a single story, a home office, game room, or whatever, there are options here. And Mont Belvieu is interesting because it has both sides of I-10. On one side, you see more of newer planned communities and neighborhood style living. And then on the south side, you're going to find more custom built homes, larger lots, and acreage property. So it really depends on what kind of lifestyle you want. You want neighborhood, sidewalks, amenities, a new construction feel, or do you want more land, more privacy, and a custom feel? That's why Mont Belvieu works for so many different buyers. You can really get quality space, lifestyle options without being right in the middle of Houston. And because you're in Chambers County, the tax conversation can look different than anybody next to us, which is another reason buyers start paying attention. Now let's talk about something that is not as fun as kitchens and golf courses, but it does matter: property taxes. This is one of the biggest reasons buyers compare Mont Belvieu and Chambers County to other parts of the Houston area. A lot of buyers are surprised when they compare the property tax rates in parts of Chambers County to some areas in Harris County. In some parts of Harris County, buyers may see combined tax rates closer to that 2.5% to 3% range, depending on the neighborhood, MUD, school district, city taxes, and other taxing entities. In Mont Belvieu and parts of Chambers County, many buyers are seeing rates closer to 1.5% range, depending on the exact property and the tax entity. And that matters because it's not just about the sales price of the home, it's about your monthly payment. A lower tax rate can make a big difference in what your payment looks like every month, especially when you're comparing similar price homes in different counties. Now, I'm not going to tell you every home has the same tax rate because that is not how Texas works. Your actual tax rate depends on the exact property, the school district, the city, the county, and whether there are MUD or special district taxes. But I can tell you this, buyers pay attention to Chambers County because the tax conversation can look different than nearby areas. And one more thing, if you're 65 years older, Texas does offer property tax benefits. But I want to say this carefully, that does not automatically mean every property tax goes away completely. You may qualify for exemptions and tax protections, but you always need to verify your exact situation with the appraisal district, tax office, and your lender. Because you don't live with the sales price, you live with the payment. So if you're going to compare a home in Mont Belvieu to a similar price home somewhere else, look at the full payment, the principal, the interest, taxes, insurance, HOA, everything. Okay, quick pause. If you're watching this and you're relocating to the Houston area, I have a free relocation guide that can help you compare areas like Mont Belvieu, Baytown, Humble, and other communities around Houston. It helps you think through schools, commute, lifestyle, budget, and what kind of community actually fits your life. So make sure you click the free relocation guide links with this video, and while you're here, subscribe to my channel because I'm always sharing videos to help you make a smart move to the greater Houston area. All right, let's keep going back. This next one is one of my favorite parts of Mont Belvieu. One of the biggest lifestyle perks at Mont Belvieu is Eagle Point. And listen, Eagle Point is not just a little gym or a basic city facility. It's a full recreation destination, and it's one of the things that makes Mont Belvieu feel so special. You have Eagle Point Golf Club, which in my opinion is one of the most beautiful golf courses in the Houston area. It gives you that peaceful upscale feel with the beautiful greens, water features, and a layout that makes you feel like you're tucked away from all the noise. And even if you're not a serious golfer, there's still plenty to enjoy. Eagle Point has the range, which gives you more of that fun social golf experience. It's almost like a Top Golf setup where you can go hit balls, hang out, enjoy night golf without having to drive all the way into Houston. They're also adding the Rookery, a new community restaurant and golf edition, which is really exciting because it gives residents another fun place to gather, eat, relax, and enjoy the area. And then you have Eagle Point Recreation Center, and this is a huge draw for family. The rec complex includes basketball courts, racquetball, training space, outdoor tennis court, a heated indoor lap pool, group exercise areas, cycling, locker rooms with saunas, child watch, outdoor play space, and a nature and a jogging trail. And we cannot forget the wave pool. The Eagle Point wave pool is such a fun amenity, especially in the summer. So if you've got kids, grandkids, or you just want somewhere to cool off when Texas starts acting like an oven, that's a big bonus. And for residents 55 and older, the Hilltop is amazing. It gives an active adults a place to connect, participate in activities, go on outings, enjoy events, play games, take classes, and really enjoy this season of life. It's not just a building, it's actually a place where people can meet friends, have fun, and stay involved. But Eagle Point is not the only thing Mont Belvieu has going for it. We also have huge parks that are absolutely gorgeous with lakes, walking trails, open green space, and places where families can get outside and enjoy the community. You don't feel boxed in, you have room to breathe. And now we have Hackberry Park, which is a newer wetland style park area with walking trails and a fully fenced dog park. So if you're a dog person, you're gonna love this. Your dogs have a place to run and play, and you still get that peaceful outdoor setting with trails and nature around you. These things matter. Where can you walk? Where can your kids play? Where can your grandkids play? Where can you just take the dog? Where can you stay active without driving 30 minutes? That's why Mont Belvieu stands out. We've got golf, fitness, a wave pool, parks, lakes, dog-friendly spaces, senior activities, and places where people can actually connect. This is not just about buying a pretty house, this is lifestyle. Now let's talk about something people ask about. Yes, Mont Belvieu is close to industry. A lot of families in this area work for the school district, Exxon, or other energy related companies, and those companies are a big part of the local economy and a big supporter of the community. And here's what I want people to understand. When you're driving through Mont Belvieu, it does not feel like you're living in the middle of an industrial area. It does feel clean, it feels cared for, very upscale in many areas, and honestly, Mont Belvieu is one of the cleanest towns around here. You can tell the city takes pride in how it looks and how it's growing. So yes, if you're relocating from out of state and you're not used to Southeast Texas, you need to understand the industrial side of this region. But don't assume that means the whole town feels industrial, because it doesn't. This is why I always tell buyers to drive the area. See it for yourself. Go through the neighborhoods, visit the parks, drive to Eagle Point, go to HEB, look at the commute. Feel the community, because one person may say this is perfect, it's close to work and still feels like home, and another person might say I want to be further away. Neither one is wrong, it's about fit. Mont Belvieu has a very strong community feel, and that's something people notice pretty quickly when they move here. People get involved here. There are local churches, school events, sports, community groups, women's groups, outings, chamber of commerce events, and all the kinds of ways to connect. You'll see people supporting the schools, you'll see families showing up for sports, you'll see community garage sales, local events, and people who actually know each other. And I think that's one of the reasons people love it here. You're not just moving into a neighborhood where everybody pulls into the garage and disappears. There are real opportunities to plug in, meet people, and feel like you're part of something. For relocation buyers, that matters, because moving to a new area can feel lonely if you don't know where to connect. Mont Belvieu gives you a lot of ways to get involved, whether that's through the schools, through the church, sports, local clubs, volunteering, or at the chamber. And that's a big part of the lifestyle here. It's not just where's the house, it's where do I belong? That's a different question, and Mont Belvieu answers that question really well for a lot of families. Now, your budget may go further in Mont Belvieu compared to some other parts of the Houston area, especially when you factor in taxes, space, and lifestyle. But I don't want people to hear that and think everything here is cheap, because Mont Belvieu is not cheap in the sense of low quality. It's more like this. You may be able to get a better overall value because of the schools, the community, the newer homes, the amenities, and the tax conversation in certain areas. People are just moving here because they want the lowest price. People are not just moving here because they want the lowest price, they're moving here because they want quality. They want Barbers Hill ISD, they want a clean, smaller town feel, they want amenities, they want space, they want a community they can be proud of to live in. So yes, your money may stretch differently here, but the demand is real. The good homes, the good lots, and the best layouts and the best locations, they still get attention. That's why you need a plan before you start shopping. You need to know your non-negotiables. Do you need a one-story? Do you need a home office? Do you need room for parents and grandkids? Do you need a 3-car garage? Do you need acreage? Do you need a commute? Do you need lower taxes? This is why I help my buyers slow down enough to make a smart move and a smart decision, because the goal is to not just buy a house, the goal is to love the decision 6 months later. Number 10, this is the big one. Don't move to Mont Belvieu just because the house is beautiful. Move here because you want the lifestyle. Move here because you want to be part of a community. Move here because the schools, the activities, the local involvement, chamber of commerce, the parks, the golf, all of that line up with what you want. A pretty house is great. I love a beautiful home, but a beautiful home is not enough if the area does not fit your life. Mont Belvieu is one of those places where you are not just buying 4 walls and a roof. You're buying into a community. You're buying into the school district. You're buying into the events, the people, the lifestyle, and the way this town keeps growing. So before you make the move, ask yourself, do I just like this house, or can I actually see myself living this lifestyle? Because that's the difference between buying a home and finding the right place to belong. So those are the 10 things you should know before moving to Mont Belvieu, Texas. Mont Belvieu has a small town living with Houston access. It's got got Barbers Hill ISD. It has beautiful homes, master plan communities, acreage options, tons of things to do, Eagle Point, the wave pool, tons of things to do, community events, and so much growth happening. But like I always tell my buyers, it still has to fit your life, your commute, your budget, your family, your lifestyle, your next chapter. So if you're thinking about moving to Mont Belvieu, Baytown, Houston, or anywhere around this Houston area, I would love to help you figure out which community actually fits you. And don't forget, I have a free relocation guide that can help you compare areas, understand what to look for, and start planning your move with more confidence. Make sure you click the free location guide located in the link in this video. And if you want more videos about moving to Houston, living in Houston, or relocating to Texas and finding the right community for your lifestyle, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I'm Jamie Graves with the Graves Realty Group, and my team and I love to help buyers, sellers, relocators, downsizers, and investors make smart moves around the greater Houston area. Call or text me, and if this video helped you out, comment Mont Belvieu below, because who you work with matters. And I'd love to help you make your next move the right one.